Hey friends, I wanted to go over a few Facebook messages today between Nick and Allie. The videos that we've been watching are from 2013. This particular set of messages jumps a year ahead to 2014, 1 year before the murder of Dee Dee Blanchard, and a year and a half after Jip and Nick started talking online. One thing that in all the stuff that we found in the FOIAs, one thing that we hardly ever see is any mention of an actual plan to unalive Dee Dee. But in this one, there is mention of it, and Nick and Allie talk about it really, really casually. So casually, it's very clear that Allie isn't shocked. It's far from the first time. And also, Allie brings it up as the plan when Nick says, that things are changing. Let's take a look, friends. Okay, here is the document. This is Nick and Allie's Facebook records, and they start May 14th, 2014. Allie says, "Okay, bro, I talked to her." Nick says, "Okay, sis, that's good news." Nick says, "What did you learn, sis?" Allie says, "It was a bit of a lengthy conversation. If you want, you can call me and we can talk about it." Allie says, "Bro?" Nick says, "Sis, I am multitasking. I'll call you as soon as I get a chance to." Allie says, "K." 10 minutes later, Nick says, "Sis, it seems like she is freaking out." Allie says, "Yeah, I know." Allie says, "I'm trying to calm her down now." Nick says, "So am I, sis." Allie says, "She really needs to calm down." Nick says, "Has she calmed down when talking to you?" Allie says, "No." About 3 minutes later, Allie says, "Yeah, now she has." Nick says, "Good, heart." Allie says, "Heart hugs from my big brother." Nick says, "Hugs you back, heart." Allie says, "Well, I am glad things are okay now." Nick says, "Yep, me too." Nick says, "Yeah, sis, I had to give her that comment because, well, it is true." Allie says, "Yeah." Nick says, "Sis, did you see the comment I mentioned yet?" Allie says, "About to, hold on." Nick says, "Okay, sis, heart." Allie says, "I saw." Nick says, "What do you think, sis? And I wonder if you would end up liking it." Wink face. Allie says, "I could not find the button at first, but now I did." Nick says, "Yay, I knew you would like it, sis." Heart. Allie says, "Smile." Nick says, "Sis, I think that was a team effort. LOL. I mean, seriously, we got her to understand, and I am glad we did because, well, I believe that would be the last time she lies." Heart. Allie says, "Yeah." Nick says, "Not to mention, I am making her feel that heavenly high feeling again, as if the lie never happened. I just want her to admit that she did wrong after I just exactly what I did with her. We are still happy." Heart. Allie says, "Yeah." Allie says, "I'm logging off for a bit. TTYL." Nick says, "Okay, sis. TTYL." 2 days later, Nick says, "Sis, have you been busy?" Allie says, "Well, I was having a snack. I am sitting in bed watching a movie." Nick says, "Oh, okay. Well, did you get my text?" Allie says, "Yeah, I did. Have a good time." Nick says, "Oh, you got that one, but I sent another one after that, sis." Nick says, "I forwarded it to you again." Allie says, "Okay. Who changed their mind? I am really confused now. LOL." Nick says, "Gypsy did." Again, friends, a reminder, this is May 16th, 2014, 1 year, 1 month before the death of Dee Dee Blanchard at Nick and Gypsy's home. Allie responds, "Okay, about killing her mom?" Nick says, "Yes. She said she wants to see how our original plan goes first with me meeting her and her mom and such. And I guess she said wanted to only do it as a last resort, sis." Nick says, "So I guess I'll be meeting her and her mom still first before that idea was to ever happen." Allie says, "Okay." And then Nick says, "Sis, what movie you watching?" She says, "That old feeling." And then it's this very same day, May 16th, 2014, that Nick says, "Yeah, sis, I have to ask you something. How crazy do you think Gypsy is? You won't hurt my feelings or anything. I really want to know, though, since I just obviously can tell she is. I just can't seem to put into words how crazy I think she is." Allie says, "Well, I don't know how to put it into words either, but I will be honest, I would not ever kill my mom or anyone else unless they tried to kill me first." Nick says, "Yeah, I know. I suppose situations change people, though, to where others are willing to do things that other people aren't. And obviously, my mom, even though she has been hard on me overall, she's been a very good mother to me. So I could never do it to her. And the only reason I can understand it with her mom is because how unreasonably poor her mom treats her. But since it is a last resort thing, who knows? Maybe it won't even have to happen." Allie says, "Ah, I suppose." And then she says, "You could be right." So just to go back up and review real quick, this is May 16th, 2014. Nick told Allie that Gypsy changed her mind. And Allie is like, "Who changed her mind? I'm really confused." Nick says, "Gypsy did." And Allie goes, "Okay, about killing her mom?" And Nick says, "Yes. She said she wants to see how our original plan goes first." So that tells me that at a point in 2014, Gypsy changed her mind to no movie meeting. They were just going to kill her mom. I don't believe Gypsy's story of her thinking that, maybe Dee Dee would suddenly come around and like Nick and let them be together after meeting at the Cinderella movie. But I can't figure out exactly what she did want in her devious little mind. If y'all have any theories, let me know in the comments, friends. I will be back with some more of this. And I'm also working on another video of the July 2013 videos compilation that'll be out soon. We'll go out with a palette cleanser. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, friends. Have a good day.